Hey Maddsters! Welcome to Work Hard, Play Hard. In this series, I'm going to be talking about, for the first half, all of the resources that the University of Michigan offers students throughout their time at Michigan. And then, once I get back on campus, I'm going to take you guys through some of the other fun things that you can do on campus. First, Work Hard, we are going to obviously talk about all of the academic resources that you have access to as a student at the University of Michigan, because obviously we're all going to college to go to school. I will say I have used most of these, but not all of them. So some of this knowledge is just based off of what I've read and what I've heard about for some of them that I have not firsthand experienced. But the first one I'm going to talk about is the Sweetland Center for Writing. I haven't been here since I was a freshman, in which it was in person, but after COVID, I'm not sure what things changed. But basically, this is just a really great resource for writing your papers. You can set up an appointment online. You go in, it was at the Ugly. I'm not sure if they're still online or if they're back in person. And you meet with another student who is trained and qualified for this position. It's not just a random student. They will help you through any stage of the writing process. So whether it's just the ideation, your framework, a thesis, or if you have a more of a final product or a rough draft, they'll go through line by line and help you edit it. They're super helpful. I went every single time I had a paper for English 125. So whatever you need, they will help you with. So that's a really great resource that I used a lot when I was writing my papers freshman year. Another great resource is, of course, the Science Learning Center. Here is my friend Michael, who's going to tell you guys more about that.
Hi Maddsters, I am Maddie's housemate Michael, and for the last 3 semesters, I've been a facilitator with the SLC. Just to give a bit more background on the SLC is a branch within University of Michigan, and they offer tutoring, drop-in tutoring, and they offer facilitator-led discussions. They're optional for every class, and they're predominantly for the science classes. So mine is Chem 215 or Orgo 2. I know they have one for Orgo 1, they have one for Gen Chem, they have one for Gen Bio, and they have a lot of them for your main science classes, especially ones that are pre-med, I would say. Structured so that you have to spend 2 hours every week going to group where you're able to ask some questions. Typically, they might be redirected to other people in the group, so you're able to form camaraderie within the group and get to know your members better, and also have practice asking questions. And then you'll also be able to go over worksheets that are approved by the professors or a lead GSI for each class, so you know that the material is actually relevant to what you're learning in class and possibly could be tested on. So that, I think, is a really big selling point for a lot of people. I want to highlight the reasons I think they're really good. They allow you to, 1, stay on top of the material, so you're spending 2 hours every week instead of just cramming for the exam, which I do realize does work to some extent, but it's hard to memorize stuff and then be able to go back to it for the final. And then the second part is that you're able to meet some people in the class. An example is Orgo 2 or Orgo 1. I knew 2 people in the class outside of my SLC group, but I was able to talk to people in the SLC. You kind of heard what resources they were using and what resources were available. Because for a class like Orgo, there's so many resources out there and you have to find the ones that work for you best. And talking to people in the group is a great way to learn what resources work for them. So I would just end with, if you're in doubt, definitely recommend joining one. You can always drop one. They're completely optional. And I would just say, always give it a try.
Thank you, Michael, for that. Super helpful. As always, very informative. From my personal experience, I utilize the Science Learning Center for Bio 172 my freshman year. I think it was really helpful. A lot of people definitely study together outside of class also from that. But I think it's just a really great resource to have that set time, have that set study group to focus on your materials. If you are in one of those entry-level STEM classes, then be on the lookout for SLC signups. The next resource that I have utilized has been the Math Lab. So as you guys know, I took Math 115. Literally such a difficult class, so I was in the Math Lab constantly. You will have your online math homework as well as team homework, and the Math Lab tutors are super helpful. For the team homework, they aren't allowed to help you a lot, but it's nice to bounce ideas off of them. But definitely for the normal online homework, they are fairly helpful. Try to get there as early as you can though, because there's always a lot of kids there. Okay, this resource I have not been to, but it's the Language Resource Center. From the name of it and from what I've heard about it, I know it's for help within the foreign language department. When I took French, I went to my French teacher and went to their office hours. I'm sure it is helpful though, I just haven't really experienced it. Also, I'm not sure if it's online or in person. Another resource that I have not used is the physics lab. Would assume that there's like physics groups, study groups like the SLC, or otherwise just a physics lab where you can go in and get your questions answered kind of as a drop-in basis, similar to the math lab. So again, I have not taken a physics class, so I'm not sure about the quality of this or if it's very helpful, but I do know it is an offering. Of course, every professor also offers office hours, so I recommend you going to those if you need help. They say to like go to all of your office hours. I didn't do that, especially for the classes that I didn't really care about. I mainly went to office hours when I really needed help, and so that was stats, French, both of my French classes, and one of my psych classes. I really liked my GSI, so I would always go to her office hours just because I liked her. She was on my podcast, actually. And it is a good way to build a relationship with them if you go consistently, especially if they are teaching a class that you're really interested in, a subject department that you like want to go into. I think that's really helpful, as well as research opportunities, people say. I'm not really interested in any of that, so I just feel like I did not feel the need to go. If you need extra help, definitely go to office hours. Another resource that is available on campus, but a little bit harder to find, is just a personal tutor. I have been tutored in math since I was a freshman in high school. Okay, math I've always struggled in, and of course I went to a tutor. So there'll be like Facebook postings of other students who've taken the class. Maybe I'm a grad student, maybe I'm a senior, I've taken all these classes, like I'll offer a tutor session, and then you pay them. They like help you work through the problems. And so for Math 115, I totally got a tutor just before my exams. I think I saw her like 2 or 3 times. They are obviously not free comparative to the other resources that I mentioned before, but it is another option if you like more of a structured one-on-one and maybe you're not really learning well from your professor or your GSI. Maybe an outside source is helpful. And finally, another great resource are just your other friends. I know for myself, I personally really don't like studying with other people, so I do avoid that. However, in some classes I did, study with some friends or do some review sheets with others. It's a good way to make friends, a good way to like help each other out. But for the most part, I personally stay away from that. But if you like to study with your friends, then go for it, because it's definitely a really fun thing to do. And with every class that you take, your teacher should also provide you the resources available on campus that will help you out with that specific class, so don't be too worried about it. Definitely be proactive. I ask a lot of questions. I'm like literally the student sitting in the front row, like raising my hand during lecture. Like, it's totally fine. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I do it. I don't know why people are so scared to do it. Like, I literally ask for help all the time because I don't know anything. But thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Michael for the additional information. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. And as always, if you see me on campus, please say hi. I'm so excited to go back and meet you all. And bye, Maddsters!